Hey guys, I'm Rich from NeoWin. Today we're unboxing the Lenovo Miix 630. So this machine was one of 3 that were announced between Lenovo, HP, and Asus with the Snapdragon 835. So let's back it up a little bit. In 2016, Microsoft and Qualcomm announced Windows 10 on ARM. This is a project that would allow for x86 apps to run on ARM processors via emulation, and the first devices would come with the Snapdragon 835. Fast forward a year, and HP and Asus announced their devices at a Qualcomm event in Hawaii, and Lenovo's was announced at CES in Las Vegas. In other words, this isn't Windows RT, which was Microsoft's first shot at Windows on ARM alongside of Windows 8. That had its own array of problems, and it was a disastrous failure. Windows 10 on ARM is really just meant to be Windows. It's meant to be used as you would use it regularly on an Intel processor. It doesn't support x64 apps and some of the pro features like Hyper-V, but presumably they'll get Hyper-V eventually. x64 is never happening. There is a 64-bit SDK, so you can build ARM 64 apps, but those x64 apps that you use right now, those are just never going to be supported on this device. So let's get the box open. I have been waiting to use a Windows 10 on ARM device. It feels like forever, so I just can't wait. All right, we have a blank nothing. Oh, this is where the actual tablet is. Oh no, this is where the tablet is. Okay, here we go, and it's super thin. Okay, so some of the benefits of an ARM processor is going to be, well, for one thing, you have a cellular modem that's built into the SoC. So that means that every Windows 10 on ARM device is an always connected PC that connects through 4G LTE. Take a look at the back here. And aside from that, you get better battery life. And here's how ARM processor works. It's it's called big little architecture. And what there is this is an octa-core processor. So you have 4 big cores, which are the more powerful cores that are used for more powerful tasks. And then you have 4 little cores, which are used for more efficient tasks, like syncing background notifications and stuff like that. And that allows it to preserve battery life. So when it's in standby and it's syncing those notifications and stuff, it's not using as much battery life as when you're doing more powerful tasks. So here's the bit about cellular connectivity, and I gotta say, cellular connectivity is an amazing thing on a PC. There are a bunch of Intel cellular PCs at this point too. Always connected PC is not just an ARM thing, it's an Intel thing as well. And I've reviewed one of those already, the Intel one, and it's fantastic. Just being able to go to an airport and not have to connect to Wi-Fi or look for the Wi-Fi network or ask someone for a Wi-Fi password, it's fantastic. So, by the way, you can get connected through easy steps. So, there should be a SIM card slot and there should be an eSIM as well. So, Sprint does offer free data plans for all of these ARM PCs. Not all always connected PCs, but the ARM ones. So we have a power adapter here. It connects through USB Type-C, just as you'd expect on a device like this. And in here we have a pen and a SIM pin, which is fantastic. I love seeing those in PC boxes now because really, cellular connectivity on a mobile PC is life-changing, and I really can't describe how much easier life is when you're just always connected to the internet. And I mean, I've been preaching for this for a while, back when I was preaching for a cellular connected Apple Watch, because it's 2018, guys. Shouldn't all my stuff be connected to the internet all the time? So in this pouch that was on top of the box when we opened it, we should have a keyboard. So this device is, it has a pen loop on it too, which is kind of cool. Keyboard, kickstand, so that's just going to plug into the device. And we'll take one last look at the device before powering it up. Here's our SIM tray over here, and it should be a nano SIM that goes in there. Over here we have a volume rocker, USB Type-C for power. On the top we have a power button, and that's about it. There are no additional ports. So you see it just attaches like that. Regular kickstand, kind of like a Surface Pro kickstand, but not actually built into the device. All right, so we've got this thing powered on, so we could take a look. It did take me a little while to get the keyboard working for some reason. I had to take it off and snap it back on again. So let's take a look in settings, and let's see exactly what we have here. If we go to About, and we are going to see Snapdragon 835, 2.21 gigahertz, 4 gigs RAM. All right, I believe it's going to be 256 gigs of storage. So it's going to be 128 gigabytes of storage. Now, this thing is not cheap. It comes with those specs, 4 gigs of RAM and 128 gigs of storage, and you're going to pay $899.99 for it. So you're really going to have to want that additional battery life. And I've heard from some people at Microsoft talking about it, and some people that have purchased some of these always connected ARM PCs, and they say, wow, I traveled with this thing for a week, and I only had to charge it once, or I didn't have to charge it at all. And some of these kind of crazy stories that I'm really excited to see, but we'll have to see on that. So it ships with Windows 10 Pro in S mode, as do all the ARM PCs right now. And that means that you can only run apps that come from the Windows Store or are verified. And the good news about that is that you can easily switch to Windows 10 Pro just by going to the Microsoft Store, and you can search for Windows 10 Pro. And you notice that I'm connected to the internet. It's switch out of S mode. It used to be called Windows 10 Pro back when it was Windows 10s. So yeah, install any app, stuff like that. And you notice that things like Hyper-V don't show up here. So you're actually seeing a different store listing than you would on Intel PC, like a Surface laptop that shipped in S mode. This is a different listing because it's showing different features, because you can't get all of those Pro features with an ARM processor. So the display looks pretty nice. It's 12.3 inches, 1920 by 1280. By the way, this does flip up like that, so it's kind of like a Surface Pro. The keyboard feels nice. It feels sturdy. It feels almost like a ThinkPad X1 tablet keyboard, but of course, it doesn't have the track point. It doesn't have the physical buttons above the trackpad. But it's a standard Lenovo. Lenovo makes really good keyboards. They're really comfortable to type on. This is no different. It does give a little bit, as does any type cover type of device. But you notice that I'm connected to the internet now. When I first booted this up, it said it couldn't connect to OneDrive because it wasn't connected to the internet. And sure enough, the SIM card kicked in, and I guess Lenovo Connect LTE. That's apparently a thing. I guess that's the SIM card that they gave me. I could always put in my own SIM card, but hey, if they gave it to me, maybe I have a gigabyte of data I could use. Whatever it is, it's pretty cool. And I just have data out of the box, and I never had to set up my home Wi-Fi. And I know a lot of people that are okay with using their phone as a hotspot, and it's a pain to me. And I've been using LTE iPads for a long time because it's like nobody really takes their tablet on the go with them, right? But every once in a while you do, and it's a pain to just have to set up your phone as a hotspot, connect to it. Oh, it doesn't connect. I have to configure this, whatever. And then finally you connect, and finally you can do that one thing that you wanted to do. And with this, you just don't have to worry about it. There's a SIM card in there. You boot it up. You're connected to the internet wherever you are, and it's a life-changing experience. So what I'm really interested in with this device is that ARM processor and how apps run, because I've heard that some people have struggled with Microsoft Edge, and I don't really use Edge. I use Chrome, to be honest, but obviously, in Windows 10 and S mode, I cannot use Chrome. I'm going to have to use Edge. And I'm going to review both. I'm going to review it in S mode. I'm going to review it in Pro. And we're going to just see how it goes. And I'm going to try to use Chrome and Pro. And we're going to see how the performance is. Because remember, all these x86 apps are emulated. So with store apps, is this trackpad just not working? Seems like it's just not working. So we're having some issues already. But with store apps, they can be UWP apps, which means that UWP apps are compiled for x86, x64, and ARM. There are 3 different packages, and that's why they run on all devices, because there's one package for each type of device. So if you run a UWP app, it's meant to be running natively on this device because there's an ARM package. And that's fine. Those are going to run great. If you get an x86 app. Now, there are other apps in the store that are x86 only, right? And those shouldn't they shouldn't struggle as much, but those are running over emulation. And obviously, if an app is x64 only, like if we can, I don't even know if it'll show up, but I believe Adobe Photoshop Elements is, Photoshop Elements, that should be x64 only, and then that won't run on this machine. See, we got a message right here that says, see available on below for devices. And it just went away. For devices this product runs on, it won't run on this one. And that's because it's x64 only. Now, x64 emulation is never coming to Windows 10 on ARM. To be very clear, Microsoft has never hinted that that's a direction they want to go in, and they've specifically said they're not planning on it. So what they did do, though, is they released an ARM64 SDK, which means that you can recompile your apps to natively run in ARM. So that goes for x86 apps, x64 apps, but it just takes that little bit of effort on developers' part. And as we've seen from things like Windows Phone, it doesn't always go that well when you're asking for effort on developers' parts. So we're going to see how that turns out. Hopefully some of those ARM64 apps start to show up. I know it's wishful thinking, but I'd love to see Chrome running natively. I'd love to see, Adobe Photoshop and Visual Studio and all these things running natively, because this is not the most powerful processor that you're ever going to see in a Windows 10 PC. This is a tablet. All right, they're not always going to be tablets. There's rumors of a Snapdragon 1000 coming from Qualcomm, and that's supposed to go in Ultrabook-like devices. There's Snapdragon 850, which was already announced, that's coming later on this year, holiday season. So this is just the first gen of Windows 10 on ARM, and it's going to be really interesting to see how this goes with just 4 gigs of RAM and 128 gigs of storage. And I'm skeptical because they are very expensive devices, but this is something that gets better over time. So I'm excited to see what happens. Anyway, guys, that's it for now. I'll have a review for you in probably about a month. I'm Rich from NeoWin. Have a great night.